Now it's time to put a radius on the edge, and for that I've created this extremely sophisticated tool. It's basically a bit of wood with a pencil taped to it. What you do is you put it against the edge of your body, you run it along, and it draws a line. Now we go in with the rasp. This is all done by eye. And file between the two lines, and from there it will be sanded into a more gentle curve. So now, with our radius basic angle established, you take some sort of sanding thing and you blend it all in. And now, there we are. Radius is basically established on this guitar. And when the finish sanding is done, all of that will neaten up nicely and become good and consistent and clean. Okay, now for a fairly straightforward job. I've marked where the jack hole is going to go, and I've got my bit and brace all set up. That's a 22mm bit. So I've put that in with an awl as a guide hole. Come over here. I line up and carefully I go forward, and there we have a nice clean jack hole. So I had a little time today and I made a quick template for the pickguard, and I'm using this rather nice piece of acrylic. And it's got, the thing about this is that it's actually transparent tortoiseshell, so the tortoiseshell is put through artificially, and it means it winds up looking a whole lot nicer than the stuff that's printed on the surface. And now, with our basic shape cut out, it's time to do the edges. So what I use is just a small scraper and just go around, make my angles, make sure that I try and match up with my line, and scrape, working the plastic until I get close. Now it's time to do the ridge for the cavity cover. What I've done, because I don't have a centre line on the back here anymore, is I've run a ruler along where the centre line is, and then I've run another ruler along the edge of the cavity cover to check that basically we're parallel. I've put a template here, and what I'm going to do is simply cut around with a blade. I'll use this scalpel, and I'll cut around the edges here. I'm doing the curved part at the top with this blade, but the straight edges I'll do with a ruler, simply because they'll be more accurate. And as always with the ruler, cut on the side where your waste is going to go. So that means that if the blade slips, it slips in an area which is going to be cut away anyway. Now the initial stock can be removed with a chisel. I'm just using a regular bench chisel. I have Japanese chisels and all sorts of other things. But I'm just going to go in very, very lightly, and remove first little bit of wood to create our shape, check that it works, all that stuff. These are the plastics for the guitar, aside from the pickguard. You can see here the pickguard cover, the jack plate, and the truss rod cover. And this tortoiseshell stuff is really nice. It's got an incredible kind of look to it. Now it's time to install the bridge, and it's this style of adjustable bridge, so it gives me a little bit of leeway if I get the angle slightly out, but it should be okay. Basically my scale length is 629 millimeters, so I measured 629 millimeters with a straight rule and worked out where it was, here. I found my 2 points, also based it on the center line, drew a line, and then I went up 3.9 millimeters on the treble side and down 1.6 millimeters on the bass side. Now I'm going to drill my holes. I like to set up using a little square here to check that I'm at 90 degrees, and I just keep the square to hand as I bore down. So every so often I just do a quick check and realignment to see how things are going. Now, one little job that people are famous for forgetting to do is installing the ground wire at this point. So what I'm going to do is simply run my little ground wire through. I've created a hole so it comes into the pickup cavity, and I've got a bare end here. I'm simply going to spread out parts of the bare end, just fan them out a little bit, so that when I put in my tailpiece stud, the bare end parts will create a good contact. Bang it in. And there we are. One installed adjustable tailpiece. And here we are with the tuners all installed. Nice looking things too. And now for the exciting moment. Some guitar strings, Ernie ball slinkies, which are always fun. The bridge is on. I screwed on the pickup cover so that I can check whether or not the height interferes. The tuners are in. Basically, it's time for the very first stringing. Okay, here it is, strung up, ready to go. Let's hear it. Wow, it's light. It's resonant. It's loud. Just great. Yeah, lovely to play.